to Dinesh Chamatamata, and Dinesh is going to read the objectives for Aleks White's Icebreaker. Dinesh?
Yeah, all right. The title of the speech is A Little Bit About Myself. It's a first speech from the manual, Icebreaker. The objectives from this manual are to begin speaking before an audience, to discover speaking skills that you already have and skills that need some attention. That's about 4 to 6 minutes. In addition to that, he also has the personal objectives. Help others to get to know a little bit about myself. Project voice without the use of the mic. Avoid the use of filler words and make eye contact. Aleks.
Aleks, please come up and a round of applause for our Icebreaker. Welcome.
Been in the group for a few months now, so I guess it's about time I did my icebreaker. Thank you, Dinesh. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. I appreciate this chance to give my icebreaker speech. The notion of an icebreaker is interesting to me. One definition I found of icebreaker is a thing that serves to relieve inhibitions or tension between people or to start a conversation. So you will have to be the judge of how well I do. It does seem a bit ironic to me that the very first speech you give in Toastmasters is the one where you're most likely to feel most anxious, inhibited, and tense. Yet it is the only speech, to my knowledge, with a prescribed objective to relieve tension and inhibition. The notion of breaking ice also raises the question of why and how ice got there in the first place. Where do our inhibitions come from? Why do such barriers or tensions exist? I am the father of 3 young children, and it has been fascinating to watch them grow and develop. But one observation that seems true for most young children is that they have very few inhibitions. It seems especially true for kids ages 2 to 3 years old. They'll walk up to a complete stranger, approach them with a smile, and ask them personal questions. They'll say all sorts of things. What happened to your hair? Or, why are you wearing that shirt? Like my brother, at the age of 3, asked my overweight grandfather, "Are you going to have a baby?" Somehow, as we age, we build up barriers, and then later on it becomes part of life, I believe, to learn how to free ourselves from such barriers and inhibitions, to be open with others and ourselves, to develop emotional intelligence. And how we build or break down these inhibitions is a topic I'm interested in, but is a topic for another day. So the icebreaker speech outline recommends that I share a bit about myself. So here I go. I'm a native New Englander. I was born in Rhode Island. My parents were living in Narragansett at the time. At age 4, we moved to Germany. My father took a research position at the Max Planck Institute. We were there for 5 years. We moved back to the States, and at age 10, ended up in Ithaca, New York, which was a great place to grow up. I left for college in 1995, ended up in Boston in 2001, and have lived here ever since. Some of you are wondering about the spelling of my name. Some of you may recognize it as a Russian spelling of Alexander. Am I Russian? Well, sort of. I do have some Latvian ancestors, and Latvia was for 2 centuries part of the Russian Empire. So how did I get the name? Around the time of my birth, my parents were reading Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Russian historian and novelist, and they liked the name. They liked the spelling of his name. That's how I got it. I'm married, father of 3 kids, ages 6, 9, and 11. They occupy all of my spare time. It's little time for personal hobbies, but I do enjoy outings with them, helping them with music lessons, homework, and sports. I'm a scientist and engineer. I work for a small biotech in Medford. I consider myself a man of faith. I'm devoted to my church community, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I served a 2-year mission, by coincidence, in Russia. I left for my mission after my first year of college at engineering school in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Came back 2 years later, came back to school and had forgotten nearly everything I'd learned my first year. Recalling math was especially challenging. When I returned, I was signed up for a course in differential equations, required for my major, but I could not remember how to take an integral. I frequently went to office hours of one of my other engineering classes and needed all the help I could get. During one of those visits, we worked on a problem set with another student. The problem involved an equation of a special curve shaped like an arc. You may recall from high school, or maybe even middle school. And it took me a while to realize what it was. When I finally realized it, I said, "Oh, that's the equation of a parable." My TA looked at me. I don't know not to say anything. I'm sure he wondered where on earth I'd been when I was doing this class, and had I been a little keener, I would have taken the opportunity to use that as a proselyting moment. So I had a very hard time my first semester back, but I persevered and managed to clear out the cobwebs in my brain. And a couple years later, I got my bachelor's degree. I moved to Boston for grad school, met my wife here, and we've lived here ever since. We love it here. What are my reasons for joining Toastmasters? Well, I want to be a better public speaker. I hope to learn how to overcome and better manage anxiety. I fear public scrutiny. Public speaking exposes some of my weaknesses, things that I do not want to be exposed. I'm not quick on my feet. I often stumble over my words. I especially fear speaking extemporaneously. I worry about not having anything to say, not knowing what to say, or worse, saying something stupid or offensive. And while I hope to improve in these areas, I feel it is important that I learn to be okay with these things. It's been said that healthy self-esteem is the capacity to cherish oneself in the face of one's own imperfections, not because of what he has or what one can do. I want to learn to accept myself in spite of my inadequacies. I'm grateful that this group exists, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Very well. Thank you. Congratulations. It's always so heartening to